This episode of Nerds on Coffee is brought to you by the Broglie Box. It is an all-inclusive quarterly subscription box designed to promote optimal mental health and overall wellness. Each beautifully designed box includes full-size curated gift items such as essential oils, stress and anxiety combating tools, coloring therapy books, candles, aromatherapy, journals, calendars, self-help guides, and more. Broglie Box products are sourced from well-known health and wellness brands, as well as small, independent crafters and artisans. Each box also includes a quarterly issue of Peace of Mind magazine, featuring timely and useful articles, guides, and visual tools from a variety of published psychologists, psychiatrists, and mental health bloggers. Broglie Box is an all-encompassing resource kit for those who need support or want to help someone else. Right now, we're partnering with them and we're offering a promo code. So if you go to brogliebox.com and enter NERDS10, that'll get you 10% off your first box. And hopefully that will inspire you to want to continue the subscription, keep it going, give a box as a gift. Again, that's brogliebox.com. That's BROGLIEBOX.com. And enter in NERDS10, NERDS10. Then I'll get you 10% off your first box. Continue to dive in, learn about the company, learn about the box, and find out how you can use it for yourself or for someone else. And stick with us.
It's coffee. It's comics. It's music.
It's Nerds on Coffee.
Cool. What's up, everyone? How we doing? First episode from Marina Del Rey.
Yeah, we never do it at Matt's place. We always do it at my place.
Yeah, you always make me trek to you, you ungrateful little bitch.
What am I to have to be grateful for in terms of commuting?
My presence, the water.
Well, personally, I'm very
it's
grateful
great.
to not have to travel all the way to East LA.
Oh, yeah.
The only reason we didn't have to travel is because I do not have a second car right now.
No, and it's nice. Like, I want to, like, come here sometimes, too, because it's not difficult at all. I don't want you to always feel like you have to come to Burbank. I just, like, I have a studio in Burbank, and it's easy. Everything just stays set up. So, anyway.
We don't have to think that
We have
doing a podcast is more than just a couple of scalable, travelable items.
Oh, it's super easy. Yeah, it's a bag. It's a one bag of stuff.
So
We have a secret voice today.
we have a
on the
secret
show.
voice, yes.
It's about to be not secret. Matt, why don't you introduce our guest?
We have one of my best friends, John Connelly, co-author of Beyond Kuiper Series, co-creator of Beyond Kuiper Series, and mechanical goddess at Lockheed Martin.
So he's a goddess.
Yeah, he is.
Yes. Love it.
What's up, John?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. It's an honor. Been excited.
You flew to LA just for this, didn't
Just
you?
for the
I did.
podcast.
Only for this.
Truthfully, Matt only told me about this about a week ago. I was just
great.
like, by the way, and then I also didn't know what day, so I got here, and he was like, so, agenda for the day. Doing this, and then,
Podcast.
yep, Kyle's
Oh,
coming
yeah.
over at 7.
Yeah, that's usually the vibe.
And then,
Sorry, guys. I'm fucking with my mic real quick. Okay,
no, it's
there we
okay.
go.
I mean, you're
no, not you guys, listeners. I don't give a shit about y'all. I'm saying like people
I mean,
whose
that
ears
motion
were
looks
inside.
fun.
Yeah, people whose ears were inside right now.
I mean, the cord
apologizing.
looks like a Slytherin cord.
Slither. It's a sneaky snake.
So, have I ever told you how John and I met?
No, I don't think I know this story.
It's a great story. So, EDC,
I'm curious how you tell it.
2012. I'm still like semi-raver.
Right.
John is full raver.
Full raver.
Full raver.
Just emerging into my...
Just emerging. He's blossoming as a raver. And we do not know each other. We've never met. We have no friends in common. I'm with a few friends from the music industry, and I fucking hated them. They were fucking pompous fucks. So I ditched them on day 3.
So at this point, you could be describing anyone in the music industry. Just any one of
no
us.
comment.
the archetypal
No
music
comment.
industry
Exactly
person.
right.
So
With 3 music industry people.
So I get a shuttle pass for day 3 because I want to drive with them. And I'm like, fuck this. I want to get to the site early. So I get to the shuttle line around like 4. It doesn't even leave till 4:30,
Oh, no.
which is fine. I just want to be first one there, you know?
Okay, sure.
Lo and behold, this skinny fucker named John Connelly
Has the same idea.
has the same idea.
like,
And we were
"Oh,
like
man, I'm
2
gonna
of
be
maybe
first."
10 people there.
Right.
And all the other people, as much of a raver as he was, he still looked like semi-normal human being.
Sure.
Everyone else did not look like a semi-normal human being.
No.
No,
So-
they looked like they didn't couldn't hold a conversation.
Yeah.
God.
So I start talking to John, and we end up spending the hour and 45-minute bus ride in like some deep philosophical black obsidian of
That's amazing.
space
So
conversation.
you two were each other's respective best of a bad situation.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't for you. It was a bad situation. For me, it was. Well, I guess it was a little bit of a bad one. when I very first,
Now that I'm thinking about what it was
Yeah.
like to meet you, it was
So-
awful.
so I guess
Oh,
just
so you had the same experience.
to give it just a brief amount of backstory, when I first went to my first electronic music event, that was Identity Festival in Camden, New Jersey in 2011, and I loved that. And then that fall, right after that, I went to EZU in New York, and I had a big falling out from some events that occurred there with 3 really close friends I had in college. And so then I went from having this big friend group of people who I had like just discovered this entire world and was really excited to explore it more. And then all of a sudden there was no one to explore it with.
Right,
So
right.
for the next several music festivals, including Ultra Music Festival and then EDC New York, I just went by myself.
Yeah,
I said,
just
fuck it.
as a fan. Yeah.
I want to go. It also just gives you the ability to go see all the artists that you want and not have
Oh
to
yeah, you don't have to like
compromise.
check in with people and be like, well, I want to like, what are you guys doing? I want to check out this band or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's cool.
But
John
it-
is very much a lone ranger in that sense.
But I mean, that's not where I like to be. It's just where I was circumstantially. And then
Sure.
I just knew from reading about festivals what I loathe is waiting in lines more than anything else.
Oh,
And so
yeah, for sure.
I was doing that every day. I was going on the shuttle, getting in super early, just having to wait in the line that was waiting to even begin going through security.
Right,
So
right.
there was always going to be waiting, but I was actually the first person into EDC 2012.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I got through security, walked through, and then there was a person there to greet me. And I have a video on my Facebook, which is me
That's
in an
amazing.
empty field just dancing because there's no one else there yet.
That's all. You walked in and you looked in the field and you said, all these
All
needles
this
on the
is
ground
mine.
are mine.
Everything the light touches.
All these needles and empty condoms are mine.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Did you get that Lion King reference?
Yeah, I heard it. It was great. I talked over it with a less good joke than that reference. I wish I would have just not talked in like that reference.
I don't know. Is that intellectual property theft from Disney?
Oh man. No, that's awesome.
So
Okay, so then getting back. So we jump to day 3. Yeah, we just start talking, and then we sit next to each other on the shuttle ride. I don't think the shuttle ride was that long, but if you incorporate that and then the line we waited in, and then the security line, we
And
probably,
as-
it
probably
adds
were.
up.
as most
yeah.
of you guys know, and as you know, for someone to not annoy me that I just met for
Oh,
that
yeah.
long of time,
Oh yeah, for sure.
because I usually am like, get away from me.
No, I'm the exact
Yeah,
same way.
after a
I'm the
while,
exact
you're just
way.
like, oh, I'm done talking.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but
I feel the same
then, then what happened? And I didn't find out what I'm about to say. I didn't find out for about 6 months, which was really cool. But then what happened was I wanted to go to main stage and just go to main stage and just see all of them. And John is a huge trance fan. Massive. And
Okay.
that day was the only trance day. So for whatever reason, John was going with the flow, felt a vibe, and said, you know what? Fuck my trance for an entire year. I'm not going to go see it. We're just going to I'm going to follow you. And we're
Let's
going to
just hang. Go
let's
to
just
the main
hang.
stage.
Well,
yeah.
we jump you jumped a little bit just because when we first we didn't make any plans at that point that we were going to spend the rest of the day together. We just
Right.
That's right.
We,
It
just
We
happened,
just kept
like-
eating together and just kept talking. And we just kept talking. And
Right,
then,
right. So when we got in, it was like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So we did a couple of rides.
Yeah, we went to
there
the
wasn't
Ferris
really
wheel.
music.
Oh, gotcha.
There was music, but no one that mattered
Sure.
was playing. So we were doing some rides and some whatever. And then as it got more towards the night, and
went to
I
the-
was like, I'm gonna go to main stage.
And I was like, well, I'm going to hang out with you.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we got there when it was still really dead. And I don't know, what were we, maybe like 60 feet away from the front.
Right.
And we just looked at each other and said, I think you asked me, do you want to just beast this main stage for the next 10 hours?
I just
With
stay
me.
here. Like,
So we just stayed
And I
for the
said
next
yes.
10 hours.
that's amazing.
But
No
within those.
water for 5 hours.
Oh.
No,
my
but
God.
on that note, though, do you remember?
Yeah, I gave my
Within-
Camelback.
He gave his Camelback to a random girl.
There were like
80,000 people in
Oh
the
my
stage.
God.
2 hours after you gave it to her?
No. It was way longer than 2. There were people, as we were at the main stage probably from 7:30, 8 p.m. onward. And so there was a pretty stable collection of people who were around us. Like, they definitely changed, but there were some that were there. So by the time you're 4 or 5 hours in, you've not gotten to know them, but you recognize who
You
they
have like
are.
your little area of group
Yeah.
of people, and they kind of stay set.
So
and, like,
these
Totally.
people all of a sudden said, we're going to go now, but we're going to be back. Do you want water? And so we weren't going. We had committed. We were committed that we were not moving from this spot no matter what.
We didn't even do bathroom breaks.
No.
We
Right,
didn't
yeah, you
stop.
just-
So I just gave her my
stay.
Camelback and figured, I took my wallet and my phone out of it. This
You're
is
like,
just
I'm
gone.
never gonna
never
see this
seeing
again.
And that was about 12:30, and I just remember that because it was right before Pretty Lights came on. And then at 4:30 in the morning, these people show back up.
With a full Camelback.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Miracle.
Yeah,
There are angels.
yeah, absolutely.
So that kind of cemented our friendship. And it
There are
kinda
angels, and they ride on camels' backs.
Boom.
All right, there's our 5 less listeners for this episode. Can I just side note real quick, and we don't have to have a conversation about this, but just how many, how the unfathomable amount of electronic music festivals in existence is just
Today, yes.
Today,
Yeah.
just absolutely, I
Well,
can't wrap my
more
head
2
around
years
it.
ago.
It blows my mind.
There was
Like,
more 2 years ago.
Really? They
Yeah,
kind of like
it
tailed off
bubbled,
a little
yeah, it
bit.
bubbled
And we
down.
talked
Gotcha.
about that a long time ago.
Yeah, what was the one that you went to that was a disaster in Hunter Mountain area?
No, well, Hunter Mountain that's not where it was. You're thinking of Hudson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what was it called?
It was the Hudson Project.
Oh, yeah, the Hudson Project. Yeah,
Also known as Mudson.
Mudson.
Which
no,
did
the-
arguably have one of the greatest lineups I've ever seen for a mid-sized multi-genre music festival.
But it
Sure.
monsooned during it.
Oh no!
yeah, and just it destroyed. Day 2 was still
so you're
one of
just
my favorite.
wading at that point through mud and shit.
Oh,
and
oh,
just
no.
Like, oh,
It was they called in the Red Cross. It was a
Oh,
disaster zone because
They called
it
it the
just-
Red Cross.
The
for a
fields
music
became muddy, and
festival.
everyone had parked in fields, and people were stuck, and there were rivers of mud and stuff got
no.
washed away. We got out of there.
I don't understand how people will just push through and they'll just be like, "It's fine. This
For
is
the-
it.
for the story,
called-
man.
We'll do it." Yeah, totally.
It's called alcohol.
Oh, for sure. No, I know. I just I've never been like a music festival person though. Like I can't.
Have you ever
think-
gone to one?
Oh yeah, totally. That's how I
as a
know
fan.
I'm not
It's
one.
pure.
Yeah,
It's pure Darwinism.
So yeah, I know. Like
I remember John
definitely-
once at Ultra comes up to me, and he was with one at Ultra Music Festival is an interesting one for John and I because it has like the trance stages. He'll always just be there, and I'll like roam around. I remember one year he just comes up to me, looks at me, is like, "It's a jungle."
It's a jungle out here.
just like yeah.
Because I was in the trance stage, and I don't know. Like there's usually a
Never
very
forget that moment.
there's a very
God.
amicable vibe that usually exists within the trance community in
Sure.
trance-centric shows. But then as soon as you step outside of the trance tent into larger ultra,
Oh,
just-
people! It's just frat people who just want to do Molly and listen to like
Exactly.
they
or
don't give a shit.
13-year-olds who are tripping balls, and you're just saying, "Where
Oh
are your
my God,
parents?" It's
yeah. There's like there's
school.
no camaraderie. Like it's I come from the metal world, and like the metal world is very much like that. It's just like there's like this like companionship when because you all know that you're like kind of in it together. It's not like the most popular style of music, and it's like this niche and community. You all kind of got there for the same reason. It's like that, yeah. But then like you branch out. It's just people fucking suck, man. Like people are awful.
No, horrible. But yeah, so to bring it back, John then and I kind of just built the friendship, and over the last, was it like 9 years now? Whatever it is, 7 years.
7 years.
And then for the last 3, we've been writing Beyond Kuiper.
Nice.
Actually, it would be
4?
no. I was gonna say, would it be exactly 7? I'd have to check.
Yeah,
No,
in June.
Yeah, we'll be just a little bit past that.
Was the reason that you stayed because it was on my birthday? It would have been on my birthday, day 3. Yeah?
Not
Day-
here. No, I think in 2012 EDC was earlier. I think it was in
No.
early June.
No.
But-
What- oh, you're right. It was.
Yeah,
it
it
was.
was.
It was. It was.
But we're close.
It was
It's
8
7
to
years.
9. Yeah.
So you guys already passed that year marker this year.
was- it
We're
would've been the 10th.
We're
missed
common law married at this
celebrating.
point.
It would have been the 10th,
Yes.
June 10th. Yeah. Wild.
That's amazing.
Unreal. Yeah. Now we've been writing this wild universe that we have art and codexes and
Yeah.
encyclopedias and languages.
No, all the
for?
art's been looking good. He's been sending me like renderings, and it's been looking awesome.
UT, it's incredible.
Yeah, shout out
Yeah.
to UT.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce his real name, but let's just call him UT.
That's awesome.
But I want to dive into something that's really unique to just you. Obviously, is your acumen to rocketry, because that's something that we, as a podcast, I think talk about a lot. Whether
We talk
it's,
about it all the time.
yeah, we talk about spaceships and aliens and reptilians and all this stuff, but we never really have anyone of any real substance on the podcast to talk about the legitimacy or even the creation of an actual spaceship.
I believe the term is subject matter expert,
Subject matter.
or SME for short, because everything in the engineering world has an acronym.
There you go.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about your journey in becoming a scientist and an engineer at Lockheed.
Well, technically, I'm not a scientist. I am technically an engineer. I am aerospace engineer. My journey for it began with being every other kid who wanted to go to space and
Yeah.
wanted to be an astronaut.
Did you want to go to space?
Yeah, I still want to go to space.
Yeah.
That has not left me.
That hasn't, right?
No, absolutely
No,
not.
not me neither.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
I'm gonna put you on the back end of a rocket one day.
Yeah, and then I can't say that I actively pursued that every day of my life. I was a kid. I liked to learn. I was creative. I loved to play with Legos.
Sure.
And I definitely give a shout out to my dad, Kevin Connelly, because he was the one who pushed me to focus. I always liked science, but where to apply it, and he suggested that I try for engineering in school. And so, I went into Rutgers School of Engineering, got out in 4 years with a degree in mechanical engineering,
Nice.
and
Your dad went to Rutgers also, right?
he did. Yep, he was on the crew team.
Nice.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yes. And came back to Connecticut, which fortuitously is a very mechanical engineering job dense area.
Yeah. I
Because
was
they
about
have
to say,
nothing
like-
else there.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot in that area.
Yeah,
but they don't have a
lot of industry in
that
Sikorsky,
area,
Electric
yeah.
Boat.
I have a
Wow.
I have a
Pratt &
really
Whitney.
simple rule of thumb for anything in America. If you don't have a pro sports team, I don't trust your state.
Yeah, but what happens if you have to live in the endless limbo and turmoil of being between two powerful cities and areas of sports
I
teams?
really can't trust you then.
That's fair.
Yeah. I do
know-
like the Inception reference.
Oh, did I? That wasn't. Ooh, you're going to walk me through that.
You said endless limbo.
Oh.
Like that's
Oh, that
how-
is- that is-
Yeah.
That's
I guess I thought more of like the Dante
Oh yeah, that's true.
Paradise
You're going
Lost
farther
Yeah,
back.
the original one, the
yeah.
Milton one,
I will only reference Christopher Nolan. So there we
which is
go.
fine.
Yeah.
I can do
It's
that too.
acceptable.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I get it.
All right.
Yeah, so school, your dad kind of pushed you to help like focus and apply
Yeah.
things you were learning, went to Rutgers,
But
got
even
out
that,
4
like
years.
getting an engineering degree and then landing a job at the aforementioned premier aerospace company are
Well,
two different things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely feel that for the type of work that I do now and how much I enjoy it, that all of the previous years of trial to getting there were necessary. I started out working for Pratt & Whitney as a data analyst right after I got out of college. Absolutely no fun, and instantly realized that I didn't want to do that.
was it
Got-
just like menial and like task
it was
oriented, like,
taking old PDFs of repair logs and putting their data into an Excel spreadsheet. And my
That sounds brutal.
yeah, I will say I had 2 jobs within a 3-month period. One was Ultra 2012. The next one was EDC Vegas 2012, where I started my new job the day I got back from after a 3-day music festival.
Oh man,
Yeah. So
you
life,
need at
life
least-
only went up from there.
you need at least that to recover.
I just
like-
I just hit the ground sprinting, sprinting and tripping forward, I guess. So I did a variety of jobs that were mostly CAD, and I
What's CAD for people that don't know?
computer aid drafting, 3D modeling, which is commonplace now in
That's what
the
Kyle
world
is.
of design.
He's a 3D model.
Yeah, I was catted.
That is a term.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
I was trying to think
Catted.
of like.
Yeah, no, it is.
No, Kyle's actually a bearded man of color.
That's right. Exactly right.
And no one can tell you otherwise because this is a podcast.
That's exactly right. Beard's a little less now.
I can see
I like
that.
the mustache.
I kept the mustache though. Because I walked out. Sorry, not to tangent.
What's
but
Amanda
not at all.
say?
I walked out. Amanda is like always more in favor of my beard all being the same length. And so, like, if I trim it a little shorter, she's cool. If it's a little longer, she's cool. But like, she likes it the same length. Because a lot of the times, I'll just shave, and I'll do like a
Hitler stash?
like a no, I like a just like kind of like a detached goatee, like the Don Quixote kind of thing, like the
Fu Manchu?
so much work.
And so yeah, it's maintenance, but like most of the time I have a beard. But like I decided today, I was like, you know what? Let me just take it down like really short, like 5 o'clock shadow plus, and then just like keep the mustache, and it's great. And she walked down, and she was like, mustache, huh? And I was like, you know, I'm about to be 30. It's time to start embracing
The stash.
dad principles. I'm a father. Like, I need a mustache.
And she rolled her
And
eyes
she-
at
yeah,
you
and
and
she's
walked
like,
into the other
Go
room.
to Matt's already. Get the fuck out of the house. Get out of the house. Go to Matt's. No, so I'm still a beard, though.
I love it.
It looks good.
great.
Yeah,
looks
it's
really
great.
good.
So I made the mistake of shaving when I got out of the shower, which is difficult.
Why?
Well,
Because it wasn't fully dry.
Well, it's a trimming.
Trimming is different. Yeah,
Trimming,
that's
you don't
true.
want- yeah,
Yes,
shaving,
that's an
yeah.
important distinction. Shaving almost always goes better out of the shower because everything is like,
Right.
clean, it's
Yeah.
even, and then you just especially if you straight razor shave. But like trimming is
Dry.
like real hard. Yeah, you need it dry.
Yeah.
So I just didn't do that. I was like, I just want to get because I just got back from the gym. I was like, I just want to get in the shower, and then I got out and I was like, oh, I'll trim. It was like an afterthought. I was like, oh, I'll trim my beard.
When it was wet.
And it just it took like twice as long. It was crazy. Anyway,
I'm really sorry for your loss.
yeah.
of
So
time.
you had 2 jobs within a 3-month period that you had. Your first day was the day after
Yes.
festivals. That's where we left off.
Yeah.
A fantastic tangent.
It was great. Anyway,
So I had 5 engineering jobs in 5 years.
Okay.
So I'll just say that I would get to a job. Each one was its own unique learning experience, and they were all progressively smaller and smaller companies through that time. I had a stint working on as a project engineer for test stands for aircraft components. I was doing design for these liquid conditioning carts that would cool the avionics for an F-35. I was working later on, right before I got to Colorado, as a manufacturing engineer for a company that was making knee, hip, shoulder, and spine replacements.
oh,
So you weren't even in space for a minute.
No, and that was it because I had taken a break in 2015, traveled that summer, and had intended to move west immediately, and job hunted aggressively throughout both Colorado, the Pacific Northwest, and California, and didn't get anything.
So you stayed.
Yeah, I stayed an extra half year, a little bit more,
After
actually a little more
joining
than
the
that.
company.
Oh yeah, then I joined. Then I decided to take a job in Westfield, Massachusetts. That was the manufacturing engineering company, and
And
no, go ahead.
didn't you move west without a job?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saved up enough money. Said enough is enough. Kathleen, my sister, Kathleen also had graduated college early, and had taken a job with Washington State University, Vancouver, Washington campus, and so we both decided that we were going to road trip.
like let's just do it.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
We're road tripping west. We're caravanning technically because we each had our own car.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah.
that was the first 2/3 on the way to Denver
okay.
was a lot. Just not
there
a
any
lot. There's
crazy
people who
stories?
drive. There's people who drive a lot more than me. But for a person who didn't usually do 500 or 600 miles at a clip a day,
Oh yeah, that's a lot.
yeah.
Were there any
lot.
crazy stories?
Oh yes, it took
Tell me.
us 19 days to get across the
Wait,
country.
really?
Yeah.
Dang.
No.
Did you guys stop? Obviously.
Yeah.
Well, and obviously you stopped, but like when you stopped, would you stop for like days at a time?
Yes. What we did is
Gotcha.
it was more of doing 2 1, 2, or 3 day bursts of travel followed by being in one location for multiple
Oh,
days.
okay.
Yeah.
So where was your favorite place that you saw?
I mean, favorite.
Did you go to Mount Rushmore?
No, we took a more southerly route. We cut
Did you
down.
go to the French Quarter?
No, not that
That
southerly.
wouldn't have gone through Louisiana.
Well, you could, but that's really out of the way.
You have to be going there to go there. You don't
I
go
mean-
through there.
Single best place? I don't know. I can give you highlights, certainly.
Did you go through the Grand Canyon? Like,
No, okay.
No.
So we went down.
all right, so we're now finding out that there's actually a much more narrow path that you took than we thought, because we're starting like northernmost and southernmost, and we're just, Matt and I are working
Narrowing the
our
band
way
down.
into the middle of the country, and I'm like, did you just drive through Kansas? And that's all you
No,
did?
absolutely not. I knew to avoid both Kansas and Nebraska. I've yet to be in those states.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think you probably shouldn't go to those states.
I don't think so either.
Did you go to North or South Dakota?
No. We went down. We went down through West Virginia into Kentucky, went to Mammoth Caves, which was amazing.
That's cool.
Went down into Nashville, stayed there a little bit with a friend from Kathleen's from college, then kept going down into Arkansas, stayed with our cousin Brett in the Ozarks for a couple days. That was beautiful,
I'm sure.
amazing.
That's awesome.
Spelunking. Took the Mazda up a road that was not designed for a two-wheel drive vehicle. That's, to this day, my sister still talks about. Just, we look back, you can finally get to the top of a hill, look back, and you're just like, holy shit, that
Like,
was.
I can't believe we did that.
This was a mountain that had 2 ways up, and we took the more difficult one. We didn't know it.
Right. Oh, man. Yeah, that's the thing. You don't know until you're already up, and then you see the
No.
other way, and you're like, oh, shit.
'cause at the
Where
t-
was the entrance to that fucking
Because
road?
at the top
Like,
we saw a giant block of mailboxes.
oh,
We were
yeah.
like, holy shit.
You're like, so people live
Our thing was, definitely your average mail truck was not getting up that route we just took, so there must be
Sure.
an easier road. But then we did see the mail truck, and it was just a pickup truck with some kid in it who was delivering mail. So I guess the rules don't
It's like
really
an
apply
F-250.
there.
It's like lifted.
Exactly. with a
great.
15-year-old delivering mail, wearing
yeah.
a reflective vest.
His name's like Hank.
It's real loose.
That's amazing.
So we were there, and then we kept going, and our next stop was Euphoria Festival,
Okay.
which was a 3-day electronic festival outside of Austin, Texas, which was also an amazing lineup. And I actually met a really good friend of mine who became a really good friend of mine, April. She was a friend of a friend who was going to be at the festival. So my sister, myself, April, and 6 other people. We were just our
John
crew of
Selby?
9. No, he wasn't there.
Kitty?
No. This is all the other people were people we didn't know. I would mention them by name if they were there.
He has a friend named Kitty.
Well,
That's
her real name is Ekaterina, but it doesn't flow, and no
even
one has ever
more-
called her that except for maybe her mother.
Yeah, it's like even more like out of the like norm.
Yeah, we're
like
hey, Ekaterina, would you like a cup of coffee? Just like Jesus, like that was like this. It makes it seem so formal,
I
inescapably.
don't know. Yeah, but and see, also I'm trying to like figure out how to spell it in my head, and the best I could come
Spell
up with.
the word Russian.
No,
Yeah,
and-
you don't. There's the English translational spelling, but that's not how you spell
No,
it.
you spell it Russian.
right. No, in my head it's just like the
Which
E
makes her impossible to find on Facebook.
like the like the E for like e-cigarette or like Internet Explorer. It's just Katerina and then just the E, like the little cursive E in front of it, and I'm just like Katerina, and I'm like, oh, there we go.
That's the most American thing you've ever said in your life.
It's just so fun, man. Yeah, it definitely is.
You're going to Japan.
Yeah, in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I gotta have to get all that out.
Yeah, you can't be like that there.
I'm just, I'm gonna store it up. I'm gonna bring it with me.
Yeah, no, he's going to Japan and Australia coming up.
I'm not going to Australia.
For
I thought that there was a one day in Australia also.
No, that's like usually what I do with this artist, but we're doing a festival
The Chromeo Festival.
with Chromeo.
I thought that you
Yeah,
had
yeah.
a September one in, one out with Starly also.
Ooh, I don't know. She hasn't told me about it.
No, I thought you told me about it, so she would have
Oh.
told you about it.
Oh no, you just made that up.
Maybe. I mean, I could have sworn.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, we're doing
Japan 5 days.
Japan, Okinawa, 5 days. We're gonna get there. Starly likes to have like multiple days at the beginning of like an international flight date, so that we have time to like adjust and then explore and go have some fun. And so we're gonna be there for 3 days, and then the 4th day we're gonna play the festival, and the 5th day we're gonna fly home.
Oh, nice.
So it's like after the show, she's like, "All right, I'm ready to get home." But she's like always goes out a couple days early, so we can have time to just kind of acclimate and relax and enjoy the area. And
So Kyle plays guitar for her
so
in a band.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, Kyle's a gangster guitarist. If you didn't, I don't think I told you this.
No,
oh
you
yeah,
did
I know
not.
it's fun to discover stuff on the show.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, so Kyle shreds at like 20, 30, 40,000 people sometimes in the crowd.
Good for you.
I've been told there have been that many out there. I don't look past the lights, so I just stand in my.
I'm in an empty room.
I have my gaff taped square on stage with my rig, and I just stay there. And then every now and then they're like, "Come out for a guitar solo," and I'm like, "Cool." And then I stare at my feet. So there's some Getty images that would prove otherwise. And so I texted Amanda first night, like last year on tour. I was like, "There's like a Getty image photo of me. That's pretty cool."
Starley and when Starley played a tour last year, Kyle was the guitarist, and they opened for Katy Perry on a arena tour.
Very nice.
Yeah, we were direct support for her, and we were the only support act, and so we got like 40 minutes, and it was great. So,
That's awesome.
In arenas, so it was pretty
yeah,
sick.
and we did like multiple nights in each city because Australia does not have that many major cities.
No,
in it.
they stockpile.
They've got like
exactly
6
what you said. They
major
save it up.
markets. Yeah, and so we'll do like 3 nights in one city and then move on.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was super fun.
Can you talk about the places that you've been in Florida?
Yes. I presume that you're asking about NASA,
Yes.
not about my grandparents' house in Sarasota.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
for those listening,
Yeah, we're not talking about like South Beach. Like
No. Although I will say that NASA is primarily a swamp. It is a giant swamp that ever so often has this.
why do
sort
they
of-
do it in? Why is it there? Why is NASA there?
Well, because they wanted, if a rocket blew up, to not land on top of anybody.
I vote that they
interesting.
still stay in Florida, but move to more people in Florida, and then apply that principle. If a rocket blows up, it just lands on the people in Florida around them. I fucking hate Florida.
Well, no, I mean their problem though is the same thing as everyone else in Florida. It's going to flood, and they're going to have to either build
Yeah.
seawalls or move the location.
I was going to say, you said NASA's basically in a swamp in Florida, and you asked why, and I was just going to say, I think because alligators are the best guard dogs. Because they're dinosaurs.
Well, that
They are dinosaurs.
Absolutely, they are.
100%.
well, that and also back in the day they were doing open air rocket testing using hydrazine before they knew
What's that?
what carcinogens
What's that?
were.
No.
You don't
Break
drink
it all down.
You don't drink the water at NASA.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No, break it all down for our listeners. What are all those things?
Hydrazine is a carcinogen. I mean, I'm not going to exactly reference its
What is
chemical
a
composition. It's
carcinogen?
a cancer-causing agent.
So they used to use that as fuel.
Correct. Right. Well, yeah, and I mean they still use hydrazine fuel, but it's not used in atmosphere anymore. It's used in space.
Gotcha. Because you can't get cancer in space.
So you're making
I
all
mean,
the
you're going to
aliens-
have cancer's going to be the least of your issues if you're exposed to that hydrazine fuel
Absolutely,
in
it
space.
is.
So is it just a hydrogen compound?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hydrocarbon.
And why'd they use it? Because it's like very powerful.
I feel like you're baiting me with the way you're phrasing these
It's
questions.
highly combustible.
Our
Yeah,
listeners
what
are
do you-
not that intelligent.
I don't think that we should assume what.
No, they're all idiots because they're listening.
Sure, we routinely
But they're
insult
nerds.
them, and they
But
routinely
they're
come
nerds.
back. So
They're nerds. I mean, we talked about that's the name.
that's
of
true. Nerds. This is a different type of nerd.
This is an elevated nerd.
Very different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally, our fan base likes more about like vibranium. They know everything about vibranium. They know a decent amount about. I'm blanking on it. What's the metal that Wolverine has?
Adamantium.
Yeah, adamantium. They know some about adamantium.
Yeah.
They know a little bit about this thing called the gauntlet,
Yeah. The Infinity Gauntlet.
but they probably don't know that much about rocket fuel.
Yeah. I mean, rocket fuel isn't my specialty, but I can.
What is
speak
your
to-
specialty?
My specialty is
Is
mechanic.
it converting old PDFs into Excel spreadsheets?
I do slay at that. They were gonna give me a promotion at Pratt just for my skills with the spreadsheet.
Oh man, that's great.
No, I guess we'll loop this all together back to your original question of how I got from graduating at Rutgers to Lockheed. So I moved to Colorado, but I had applied to Lockheed Martin many times, actually about 50 times.
Oh, you're gonna eat another one of my cookies
And
because your wife made me for my 31st birthday.
I didn't tell you how many of them in there were reserved for you.
you realize any ones that you don't finish eating tonight are going to be
Juicy.
gone by the morning because I'm going to eat them.
Yeah, you're just gonna,
Yeah, but you need them.
you're just gonna
That's
get more
true.
high and then eat a bunch of cookies. So there we go.
Perfect. I came to Colorado. I didn't have a job lined up.
Do I need to edit that out?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, it's okay.
Okay.
I was laughing at the way you were staring at me with the cookie.
Yeah,
I
wasn't
oh,
hung
no,
up on
shit.
that.
I referenced
And then you got
weed. No, okay. Never mind.
I don't smoke weed, but other people do, or so I'm told.
That's true.
Yeah.
I smoke weed.
There you go.
Well,
Those cookies are delicious.
the only way I can get through is being around you.
I'm
Fair.
sure.
This is not the
Kyle
first time
seems
for
like
that.
a very antagonistic person.
Yep.
Oh, you've never seen him.
So, your specialty, how you got from Rutgers to Lockheed?
Yes. So I got to Colorado. I was living with my cousin, who graciously let me live rent free while I did paintings for his house.
Nice.
That was my bartering system, and I through applications at a ton of different companies in the area. All the time, I kept getting pinged by recruiters, which would always be a dead end, and then got a call from Lockheed Martin, and it was
like, oh,
for
shit.
a level 1 mechanical design engineering position for ground support equipment, which the common acronym is MGSE, MGSE, Mechanical Ground Support Equipment.
Okay.
And so it is all of the equipment that's associated with assembling, transporting, or testing, whether it be a spacecraft, a satellite, a lander, anything. So that was the job that I had applied for, the last one that I applied for, and I got a call back. And then they wanted me to come in for an interview, and I was already committed to going back to North Carolina for a family reunion, like I do every year. And I got there, and I had a phone interview set up, and I was all ready for it. All my notes, I'd been prepping for it for days.
You were really
And
excited.
I was really excited. And so there was this person who was this liaison, for the recruitment process, who was my point of contact. And they had told me, and in the instructions, that it was a number I needed to call into, a conference number. And that one detail completely slipped my mind.
Oh, no.
So it's 5 p.m. was when the interview
She's
is.
like, man, they need to get their shit together.
So-
Scheduling, like,
So it's 5 o'clock, 5:05. No one calls my phone. 5:10. No call. 5:15. I'm just shitting myself. At
Oh
this
my
point.
God, you're
5:20. I'm just like, what is going on? 5:25. My point of contact calls me and says, "Did you forget you had an interview?" I'm just, what? No, obviously not. I was
you're like,
I'm just
did
sitting
you
here-
forget we had an
Yeah.
interview? I've been sitting here for 25 minutes.
Exactly. and she says, you had to call into the conference. And I debated jumping off the balcony at that moment because I figured that was the universe teasing me with the job I really wanted.
That's
and then just
so great.
ripping it away from me from my own ineptitude. But I called in, and I only had 35 minutes for an hour-long interview, and it went well. But obviously, it was truncated, and I felt like I did well, but there wasn't really the opportunity to sort of me defend how emphatically I was looking forward to finally having this chance. And then
Right.
the guy doing the interview,
Hated you.
no, apparently not. But he said, our interview's cut short. Was there anything else that you'd like to express, about this? And I just said, oh my God, I want this fucking job so bad.
Did you really say that?
I don't think I said fucking, but I said, I want this job so bad. I will never leave this company. I've wanted to work in space my whole life. This
will
and that.
die.
Just, gosh,
At
yeah.
Lockheed.
You said that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I said, I will never leave. And so then at the end, he was like, no, noted.
That's so
And
great. That's
Hank-
such a scientist answer, too, by the way. Like, that's so great. Noted.
and then you were hired.
No. So, so then he hangs up.
Then he puts a restraining order.
Right.
And then
Not
the,
that
and then
guy.
the liaison calls me back right after, and she says, "You must have done something right because they want to see you again." And I'm just like, "Yeah."
That's amazing.
Let's go upstairs. My whole family's just on the deck above me, listening the entire time.
They're like,
and they're
"How'd it
just
go?"
like, how'd it go?
That's amazing. That's
So what
funny.
interview number was that out of the process?
That was one. I only
that was the first one.
I actually just had 2 phone interviews.
Okay,
Yeah, 2 phone interviews, and then was asked to have secret level clearance.
that's amazing.
and did you get it?
I had it for my time, but there was no program that I needed to use it on.
It's cool to have it though. Like that's
It
amazing.
is.
Like,
It was a long process. It was a very long process
Oh,
to
I'm sure.
actually get
And
it.
you've been at Lockheed for how many years now?
Almost 2.5. Two
And
half,
do you
3.
do you stand by that statement of never leaving?
Yes, I do. For the type of work that I do, absolutely.
yeah. That's
The
awesome.
alien spaceships.
Yes.
Yeah.
just like in not to say not in Deep Impact. What I'm trying to say, just like in
Independence Day.
Yeah. Right. That's amazing.
So is there a crazy professor, doctor, scientist with white hair?
Oh, they're called the fellows.
This is a group of these guys.
No, so fellows are within the company. There's different ladders of which you climb in different goals. You know, some people are climbing in levels through management. Other people are climbing through technical. Once again, sort of being a subject matter expert. So you could be a level, I think 5, 6, maybe even 7 engineer who's focusing solely on being the knowledge of all propulsion aspects or all radio transmissions or EM shielding or etc. So yeah, they're the super nerdy guys, but who you can contact directly and just have all the answers. Usually even just in their heads, which is remarkable.
That's crazy. They just know because they've just done it so much.
Well, there's a lot of nerd power there, especially
bet.
actually on that campus. So because
Where do you sit on the nerd scale there?
in what respect? Like as the scale of like not being nerdy to being the nerdiest human possible, or
Like how would you rank your math skills?
my math skill. I mean, my math
Like
skills.
in context of people you work with.
In context of people you work with?
Obviously not in context of like all people because like the fact that you
it's
have
a
your
very.
job.
It's difficult to say because it's a very non-linear scale.
That's true. That makes sense.
Because
like
most,
the application's always different.
yeah,
like-
and also I mean, there's
break it down this way.
Well, no, I'll explain it to you this way. In that, there's a tremendous amount of math that every engineer needs to learn. And being a mechanical engineer, I had to go all the way up to calculus 5. But
I didn't know it went past just calculus. Like I thought calculus was just calculus.
oh no, it gets kind of weird.
So I guess this is the way to say it. If you're with Kyle and the world ends,
yes.
and you have materials to build a spaceship, how fucked is he that you're the only mathematician there?
Or how stoked am I that you're the only one there?
Oh no, there's people much smarter than me.
So you're fucked.
So you would look at me and be like, well, I can probably get us some of the way there, but I really wish.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, no,
I really
I'm
wish
not-
like Eric
oh,
from
I'm-
2C
I'm-
was down here, but
I'm
he
not your
died in
man.
the blast.
I'm
Like,
not your man when it comes to that.
like
Sorry.
let's just reference that MythBusters episode where they build a duct tape raft. Like, yeah,
But as long as the duct tape was dry, that was.
as long as it was dry, that's right.
Yeah, like Wilson is gonna become a real thing.
That's from Castaway.
Yeah, that's what I was
great.
thinking.
Yeah, amazing. You guys should write a character
Named Wilson.
but Wilson's an acronym, and come up with an acronym for Wilson and make it mean something and make him like that would be cool.
I hate though contrived acronyms or things derived from creating an acronym.
Oh, it's super
first.
derivative.
Yeah,
but it's funny.
We could probably do something funny.
maybe
You come with a better
although
one.
you think about, I'm sure when they came up with Shield, they had to have come
You
up
know
with
what?
Shield first.
But
Come up-
but Virgil we came up with first.
Come up with an
You came up with that
acronym.
one.
Yeah, but I came up with the word first.
So come
Oh,
up
you
with an
did.
acronym that's not Wilson, just something completely, absolutely like Virgil, for example, or something, or
I
just
have a
something
better
different.
one. Kyle.
Yeah, no, any acronym doesn't matter.
Kyle.
Any acronym.
Let him say his point.
And then make the acronym, and it's got to make sense in context for what this like being or object or person or computer or whatever is and what they do. It's the acronym, but then be like, spell out the acronym and be like, oh, that's blah, 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 blah. It stands for blank. We just call him Wilson, but then just call it Wilson anyway, and it's just completely unrelated.
I like that.
That's funnier. So, and then just see if anyone
So
gets it.
like, hey, we have SHIELD. It stands for Strategic Homeland Intervention.
Whatever logistics department
Yeah.
or something like that.
but just
Yeah.
call it Wilson.
Yeah, but just call it Wilson. Exactly. Yeah. So like an Interstellar.
actually really
with
funny.
like, was it Gertie in Interstellar?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that or is that was that the right movie?
Yeah.
Wait, you're talking about the robots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tars.
Tars.
And,
Oh wait, what am I thinking of? Am I thinking of Moon with Sam Rockwell?
oh,
Or no.
Maybe you are.
No, what's Gertie in? I mean, I saw
No,
something
I think
recently.
that is. I think that is in Moon.
Maybe it's not. I don't know. Moon was dope though. Limited theater release was
Definitely one of those sides.
like I was in Washington D.C. when it was released, and I went and saw it and was like, man.
I just
Yeah,
keep
yeah,
periodically
it was
looking
Gertie
up
and Moon.
what are
Gertie
the best
and Moon, that's
sci-fi
right.
movies to watch lists, and that's how I found it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, Moon. It flew under the radar. Like it didn't. It wasn't like this massive thing, but it was really cool. Like it was super.
Have you
cool.
seen
It
it, John?
reminds. Yes, I have.
Spoiler
Yeah.
alert, he's a clone.
Yeah, we ruin movies all the time on the show.
Okay.
We put spoiler like if you don't like. First of all,
That was very kind of me to even say spoiler alert.
yeah, I know. Usually he just blurts it out.
Imagine people fleeing, holding their ears.
Yeah, I'm like, no, my God, Snape kills Dumbledore. What? Like,
Dude, did you hear about that though?
usually like that.
Did you hear about
Vader's his father.
when when Endgame came out?
Oh yeah, yes, I did. I think we actually talked about it.
This dude in Vietnam was running around theaters screaming, "Snape killed Dumbledore."
That's amazing.
That was the greatest thing ever.
That's so funny. I thought you were going to talk about
Oh, well, the guy
that
in
we also
Taiwan.
yeah, that was actually running around and actually spoiling
yeah,
the movie,
so-
and then he got put in the hospital because he got like a mob.
yeah, in Taiwan, he started,
surprise.
screaming, he started running around the block while people were waiting to get in the theater, being like, "Iron Man dies." And
Yeah, and just straight.
yeah, like literally just going in, and then the dude got put in the hospital. Someone beat the fuck out of him.
Cat picks up the hammer.
That's the next level down from like suicide by cop. Whenever people just like when they like an armed bank robbery goes wrong and there's no way out, and they just go out and like in a firefight
Blaze
and
of
they
glory.
know they're gonna die, and
Yeah.
they're just like, I'm gonna let the cops kill me because I'm not gonna get taken. And so it's like that classification. That's like a social version of that.
Yeah.
It's like trying to make.
ruining a Marvel movie on like opening night.
I was going to say what might be one step below or above that would be trying to get that first PS3 out of the Walmart when on opening night and not
yeah.
get killed by the crowd.
Oh my gosh, I know. Black Friday shoppers are among the worst people on the planet. Like people who wait in line for product releases,
Nazis,
I think, are
Black
not
Friday
that far.
shoppers.
Yeah, in a reverse
Mongols.
order. In a reverse order, I think Black Friday shoppers, and then Nazis.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
then,
I
like,
agree.
oh my god,
No, Black Friday shoppers are way worse than Nazis.
so bad.
They have
It's
no
so
morals.
bad. They don't have. Yeah.
They have no ethos.
At least the Nazis cared about something.
Like, yeah, you had a belief system, albeit the rest of the world agreed unanimously that your belief system is wrong. But you still had one. Black Friday shoppers just act without regard to
they'll
anyone.
kill their own aunt to get the PS3.
They'll totally do it. They'll just be like, I don't care. Like the people, these motherfuckers will go to jail for like $5 off of a 30-pack of like shampoo. It's like that's the class of person we're talking about. It just
That person's way worse than Hitler.
absolutely way worse, and that's saying a lot because I think we could all pretty much agree that
mean,
Hitler
Hitler was a vegan.
awful. Wait, what? He's a vegan? Yeah, yeah, he was a vegan artist.
He was. And then the government hated him. And then he turned into a mass murderer.
Yeah, we talk about him too much at this point.
I mean,
for
I do
people
love
to
Man in the High Castle.
Not think. Yeah,
Have you watched that?
no, not yet.
It's okay.
Did you? How much of it have you watched?
Season 1.
Oh, well, that's why. So yeah.
Should I keep watching?
Yes, you should. It gets better.
Okay, fine.
So I have an interesting point between both of your perspectives to that show. By the way, this isn't about the show. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
But so, John, your perspective is to like, well, which here's the thing. I agree with both of your perspectives, and I'm gonna unknowingly to you, Matt. I'm gonna defend your point because you don't know what I'm gonna say. But I agree with you,
That's
John.
rare.
I was like, yeah. So I'm gonna agree with you, John, where you say, like, well, you haven't given it a shot. You need to get past season 1 because then the story really unfolds, characters develop, things like are put out, and you're like really sucked into it. You're drawn into it. Like that's obviously lots of shows are like that. That happens. I agree. I'm like, yeah, no, you need to give it a shot. But also, I'm also the type of person where I'm like, why the fuck would I have to invest? And I've invested into an entire season of a show, and then it hasn't gotten to the point yet to where I see value in it. Like, what are you doing?
So-
like, I feel that way about certain shows too. I'm like, if I have to watch your show past the first season to see the value in it, then like, what did you do in season 1? And why did you wait till season 2 to bring all the shit that you should have? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
So this is why. So my reasoning, because I absolutely agree with you, is this is coming from the person who watched Heroes all the way into the ground. Here's the person who watched Dexter all the way into the
Okay.
ground.
Oh, Dexter
who
was
watched
horrible.
Weeds all
You
the way
didn't like
into
Dexter?
the ground.
Well, 5 through 8 was
Who
unwatchable.
watched
it got
Lost
different,
into the ground.
Did you
Okay.
watch 1
Who-
through 4?
Yeah, early Dexter
So
is
my
incredible.
point being
Agreed.
that so often there have been shows that have started amazing. Oh God, True Blood, also same deal.
Oh
Awesome.
yeah,
And
season 1 through 3, I was like, oh, this is great, and then it went
Lost
off
1 through 4.
hard. It went off hard.
Lost 1 through 3, except that it did have
Fourth
the
decent, yeah.
Constant, which is the best episode. But so often that happens that when I have a show that gets better subsequently, I'm so much more into that. Like those shows, I feel
Yeah,
are the
no, it's
ones
great.
which really they're learning from whatever's going on and like giving them the chance allowed them to be better.
Yeah, totally.
And just maybe also though, to be fair, with regards to Man in the High Castle, I walked into people watching episodes. I didn't watch that from its first season, so I saw an episode or two, which was a little strange because it's a highly serialized and I didn't know all the plot, but I was very good, and so that's probably why I went back.
Interesting.
But I don't know. Sometimes
I've heard 2's pretty good.
it's just it's more of also it's an interesting enough premise.
Do you know the premise, Kyle?
Well, I think you've explained it a couple of times. I can't.
Yeah, it's
remember,
basically like what would happen in America if Japan and Germany
That's
won the
right.
war.
That's right. Yeah. No, I usually am pretty into
San
stuff like that.
Francisco is Japanese occupied.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We've talked about this a couple of times on the show. You've like explained it, and I just like it sounds super
Just like
interesting.
a
I need to-
reptilian occupied
but it's just
San
yeah,
Francisco.
nice. It's on. There's just so many shows that I'm just like I'm gonna love them. I know they're gonna be amazing, and just like where do I start?
No,
because like
same
With your remote control, Kyle.
yeah, sit on your couch, pull up your Apple TV,
That's how you
watch
start.
it. Yeah, that's how you start.
If
Yeah.
you needed to know, I'm
But
just trying to
there's-
Like
help.
mechanically, that's how I started
Yes,
the
yes,
process.
there's so much now though, with streaming and then now what Netflix and Amazon with their basically infinite budgets can throw at it.
Pretty much,
that it is difficult.
It's not.
I think I
difficult. Kyle just needs to
usually
start.
actually
First step
do
is
kind of
acceptance.
feel out the internet for what people have regarded as the best using some particular metric and then kind of go.
Yeah,
from there.
yeah.
I mean, I'm a sci-fi person, so
I do that on tour
like
with
the
movies
Expanse
and stuff. Yeah.
I eat that for breakfast.
What is it? What does it say?
The Expanse.
Expanse.
Oh, The Expanse.
The show. Have you watched it? It's okay. I just don't like how grounded it is for being a sci-fi show.
Oh,
It's like too grounded in Earth.
no,
Basically,
So it's not enough
basically
fiction for you?
Earth. Yeah, not enough fiction
no.
for me.
I mean, it's sci-fi.
And Earth and Mars are colonized,
It's 350 years from now.
and the asteroid belt is where colonized for miners, like mining it, and then Earth and Mars are gearing up for like an interplanetary war.
It's a
against each other.
three-way faction between the Earth, Mars, and the Belt.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's like too humanized. For
Well,
me.
no, it's the interesting. Basically, it posits the question of
How is there not enough fiction? Like the entire plot is not plausible at this point, so that automatically
Yeah,
is
it
fiction
is science
enough.
fiction.
No,
Yeah, that's
so
sci-
to me,
straight up science fiction.
He's just saying because it's humans not really involving any aliens. It's just it's like our future history versus
Oh,
being.
I understand. So in the world that they created, it's too normalized. It doesn't
Yeah,
push
meaning,
far
meaning
enough.
like
Yeah, I get
get that.
even physics wise,
Yeah, the
almost
physics
everything is
don't, like-
actually still, which is awesome. A
But
common.
that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, it does. Here's a perfect example. In a lot of sci-fi, there's artificial gravity on ships, also known as magic.
Yeah, right.
Wait, what do you mean?
Because
Well, they can turn it on and off. And they
there's-
can just,
we
like-
don't know of any I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm saying, but we do not know of any technological means to create a unidirectional gravitational field in a localized.
But don't we have
place.
that on our ships?
No, we don't. Unfortunately, not yet. But in the Expanse,
No,
what
but
they
I'm saying
do,
in our book.
not the Earth ships. No.
Oh, but the
No.
GSA ships we do.
Yeah, we do because they're aliens, and so you can assign them to have millions of years of technology and figure out where. Right? That's great, but I think that's the Expanse sits on the human side of recognizing.
Yeah, I don't like that. I hate humans.
I mean, they're not. As
They're-
I said
they're
I said
not.
this to Matt when he picked me up from the airport today. So he's driving a rental car, and I'm asking him what it is. And he's like, I don't have any fucking idea. I'm like, what color is it? And he's like, it's black. It's a black Chevy Malibu. It's neither a Chevy nor a Malibu. It was black though.
That's amazing.
And so I'm looking around, and I'm like, oh, there's the man wearing sunglasses, just looking disdainful of all the humans around him.
Yeah, there you go. That's amazing. So you were 30 like roughly 30% accurate on describing something that you not only 5 seconds before you got in and operated it, looked at with your own eyes, and then used it. You just
That
and
doesn't
you're just
surprise-
like
Yeah.
2/3 wrong about what it looked
I
like.
think that's every person in every rental car.
That's true. Yeah,
I
that's true.
would argue I was 2/4 because I got black and SUV right.
Yeah, because I was like Malibu's not an
Is
SUV,
it
but
a
it wasn't a
hy- is
Malibu.
it a
Right. I said
hybrid?
it was a Chevy Malibu SUV.
Malibu's not an SUV.
Is it a crossover?
No, it's just a car. I don't even know if they make them anymore. Like,
Oh yeah, you're right. A Malibu is just.
it's just a car, man.
I didn't even think about that.
All our like high school speech teachers drove them.
Can we talk about your shirt?
Yeah.
Do you want to describe it?
Are we
the
allowed
audience?
to?
My shirt, certainly.
You allowed to talk about who he
the,
is as a
the
person?
ethos of what's on it.
It's
You
great.
described to me what you're referring to.
We're allowed to talk about that you're gay.
Oh yes.
Okay,
of
great.
course.
The shirt is super gay.
Well, the shirt
It is.
No, it's
no,
just a
'cause-
planet. It's the NASA logo, but it's with the rainbow colors and it says gay.
It's to the pride. Yeah. with
Yeah, it's
the-
the pride flag.
well,
Yeah,
but
sorry.
what's
Yeah.
real-
and it says gay instead of NASA.
what we wanted to talk about was actually I was the first person to ever find out that he was gay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he told me on a drive to Vegas.
Like
I was driving to
years
Vegas. He
ago.
calls me.
That's true. Yeah, that's right. Because you were just. It was one of those nights where you were doing a quick. Going to Vegas for a show.
Yep.
And then coming right
And you
back.
called me and you're like, I have something to tell you. And he goes, I'm gay. And I was like, no shit.
And I
Yeah.
was just like, "Fuck you so hard!" Like I'm in my
That's
mind, I'm
literally what
building
I
up
said,
this
Kyle.
moment, and he was
Like
just
you're
like,
feel like this is like this is an empowering moment, and you're just like
I don't know, empowering, just
Well,
terrifying.
it was just like, how long did it take you to figure it out? I've known since we met. Like, yeah.
Oh, there were
Basically-
so many people like that, and I was even as I am existing conflicted and in denial and just not being aware. There are people who just said, "Oh, I just assumed that you were gay when we met." I'm just like,
Yeah, I assume. He had a girlfriend that confused me for a minute.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure it confused you too.
she who shall not be named.
Yeah, no, she's a whole nother can of worms. But yeah,
Oh,
when he
man.
finally called me to tell me that, I was like, yeah, no shit. It's literally what I said.
Yeah, like, well, this makes sense.
But yeah, no, it was.
Which I honestly, like, I don't know if it makes you feel good or bad. It's like, if you're like, I'm gay, and people are like, yeah, that makes sense. You're like, well, wait. But
No,
like,
it's very confusing because
yeah.
your perception of how you presented yourself in the world
Exactly.
is so different
Yeah,
than
totally.
reality. It threw me. For
because
a
to
lot.
you, you're like, no one knows this about me. I'm not consciously putting this out. But then other people are like, we can tell. And you're like,
Yeah.
well, what does that mean about how I've been living? Like, this is crazy. Obviously, this is just assuming. If I don't.
No,
that's
no,
not-
no,
I
and
don't
that's
understand.
no, and that's
like,
a very good question. And I did
Yeah.
ask that exact question to myself. And so, yeah,
I basically knew because all of the nerdy girls from Harvard weren't like jumping on him, and I was like, "It's a smart dude who should be getting nerdy girls," and he wasn't. So I was like, "Probably gay."
like gay by nature. Like,
he just
By-
did,
by
he
process.
did some
Like-
quick math.
that's amazing.
And then the only girl he did go with was batshit crazy, which made me really be like, so he just doesn't know how to pick them. Definitely gay.
Oh, either way, well, there you go.
I say I never actively sought out a relationship. The universe just had them occur to me.
So Matt built like it's like some solid evidence against you for
Without me knowing.
yeah, absolutely.
That was
Yeah.
And then I was just ready and be like, these are my findings.
Yeah, I've been doing independent research for a
I had to
while now.
audit the company.
Yeah. Oh man, that's great. So
Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't remember what your question was earlier. I lost it there for a second.
I didn't. Did I ask a question? I don't
It was a
remember.
piece.
asking a
I don't
question.
remember.
You might have said something.
Well, you just brought it up because I think you just wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to because I thought it was like a really cool moment.
Well, I mean, I will make note that LGBT representation in STEM is still disproportionately low compared to
In what?
in science, technology, engineering, and math.
Yeah.
So
Not
within those
no art
fields-
though. It's not STEAM.
No.
Not you're like, no, fuck that.
Well, no, I mean, because art is not where
Is
is
where all the
not being
gays are.
underrepresented
That's
by the LGBT population.
very, very true.
But you were saying today, and I think this could be really interesting for our listeners. Talk about this controversy with the flag.
Oh well, I mean, it's. And I don't know. For some people who might have seen this in the news, there's an ongoing debate occurring in the LGBT community if the traditional LGBT gay pride flag, which is the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple striped rainbow flag, should have additional stripes added to it. That, there are additional or brown and black stripes, which have multiple meanings. They are emblematic of traditionally disenfranchised minority groups within the United States. I mean, within the world, as well as within the United States, and also within the LGBT community itself.
Well, it's no secret that like being someone in LGBT community and then being someone of color in an LGBT community is even farther removed from where our society has been for a long time. And so you're going to face an additional set of challenges on top of being like a cultural minority in this country.
Yes. So now what you're referring to is called intersectionality.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So the two sides of the argument are, well, okay, if this is the open spirit of inclusion, then by its nature, the flag should be open to interpretation and open to the idea of changing its identity to be more inclusive. The controversy, or the other side, the converse side of that is, well, this flag is designed to be the banner umbrella symbol of inclusion. Why do we need to add more to it to be more specific?
Oh, interesting. So there's like a logical side to it. Not that the other side is illogical.
Yes.
But like that side is very much based, I would say, more in just looking at it and just being like, it exists because it is what it is. Why does that definition need to change?
Yeah, it's representative.
It already represents including is all of people that are in this group.
Yeah, all people. All people.
Yeah. And so I just like. Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, it's not something that I'm gonna have an opinion on.
Yeah.
So,
But it's like taking the Avengers and then saying, hey, we have to do the Avengers and the A-Team. And I have to do the Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy and the A-Team. And I have to do the Guardians of the Galaxy, the A-Team, and the Sorcerers and the Avengers.
the A-Team is not a part of that world at all, though. It's the only one that's not a part of that world.
What do you mean? Of course it is.
The A-Team is not part of the Marvel universe.
100%.
The A-Team Marvel?
Do you not know what the A-Team is? You're thinking of the Bradley Cooper A-Team.
No, like the A-Team, like the A-Team with like Baracus and like.
No, the A-Team is the females.
Oh, no, I know that. You said A-Team, and I thought of like like the Liam Neeson remake of like the A-Team.
Right,
Yeah,
no,
like the OG A-Team.
No, the A-Team is all the female.
In the Marvel universe, the A-Team is all the female
yes,
heroes.
Of course.
Yes. No, I know.
That moment from Endgame.
Yes, which was amazing, by the way. But it just, that's not referenced a lot. So you said the A-Team, and I was like, okay, so the A-Team, like, quote unquote, like the A-Team as its own entity.
No.
Like the show. Yeah. No, you mean in the Marvel world. I understand
Yes. Like Thanos.
now. Yeah.
He's in the Marvel world.
I just finished Infinity Gauntlet.
Again?
Graphic novel. No, it's like a 16, like almost like 20 something part graphic novel series, and each graphic novel collects anywhere between 6 and like 18 issues. And so like I did Infinity, which was like 800 plus pages, 900 something pages, and then I did
Damn.
Infinity.
You've read all of them?
I did Infinity Gauntlet, which
You've read
is
them
like
in print?
something. Yeah, I own them in print. Like I'm like. It's like whenever I text you the photo. So I just finished Infinity Gauntlet, which is collection 3 of like, I don't know, 16 or 20 or something like that. And each collection is a graphic novel of like comprised of anywhere between 6 and like 18 to 20 like issues of a comic compiled into one continuous story. And so Infinity Gauntlet is basically the story of when it picks up whenever Thanos is pursuing whenever he's like resurrected and brought out of hell basically by death and like re-given his power. Yep. So that is basically him like wooing death, like to try and get her favor because he's like wants to be like romantically involved with death. And so it's just like Infinity Gauntlet is, and that's when the snap occurs is in that story.
Oh, wow.
Did you like it?
It was so good. Yeah, it's incredible. like Nebula in that is like I'm not gonna, if anyone hasn't like read it or like you should, but like Nebula at the end is like
Did she like Nebula in
unbelievable.
the movie?
Yes and no. When she's this is gonna take like a lot to explain, so I'm just not going to. Infinity Gauntlet was dope. I'm not going to talk about it on air because it's gonna take a long time to explain why Nebula is and isn't the way she is in the movie. They did a great job. She's not ever represented in the movie the way that Thanos essentially reduced her to exist, though, in the graphic novel basically out of like anger. And so anyway, I would like to continue talking about other more like culturally relevant things that people deal with.
Well, certainly. I mean, if I may just present us within the subjects that we've been covering for cultural things. So several months ago, our vice president announced that he would like us to return to the moon within 5 years. And so I guess I can speak to that just because I'm at the other end of those words, where so I guess to sort of to catch back up, I did eventually get that job at Lockheed.
Yeah,
Bum, 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 bum.
that's right.
Oh, wait for it. On 5,
I don't know. Wait,
4,
don't change your count.
3,
No, hang on.
2 3/4, 2 1/3, 2 1/8, 1.
Oh, half. Sorry, I forgot what the half was called. Here we go. I found
0.
Any other podcast with any shred of dignity or decency would edit that to where it was just a perfect segue to that sound. But I'm going to let everyone listen to how much of a struggle it was for me to find that app on my phone.
The struggle is real.
The struggle is real. I have
amazing.
a ham horn app on my phone, and it took me forever to find it. Anyway, that was in honor of you retrospectively grabbing your job at Lockheed.
Thank you.
So there you go.
Sorry about that. So while there, I worked primarily in designing ground support equipment, and I worked on several satellites that 2 of which are in space right now.
Wow.
Yep. The third one is going to be delivered soon to Japan.
So you've literally built items, artifacts, relics that are now orbiting our planet.
That is correct. Yeah.
I think the closest I can get to that is, whenever I was a kid,
You left a balloon go.
I had a no. I like to think I got a little bit closer than that because like helium, once it gets closer to the edges of our atmosphere, is just gonna that's not gonna make it through, right? Like is that could a balloon go into space?
No, it would just explode.
Yeah. Okay. So the closest I got whenever I was a kid.
Well, matter of fact,
what-
he said he's like, no.
Yeah. No, I want to know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't know less about.
No, because the air pressure outside would get so low that the pressure inside would cause it to expand and then explode.
Okay, well then there you go. The closest I think I could get to having something in space is whenever I had my CO2 powered pellet gun and I would just fucking shoot it in the air, and be like, "This is gonna come back down at some point. Is it gonna come back down like on my house? Like what if I'm outside whenever this pellet comes back down and hits me? Like, am I gonna die? Like I would have as like an 8-year-old, I would have like existential crises.
Do you think you've ever
Well,
killed someone?
my dad said that happened once in New Jersey when he was a kid. That there was like a guy who was on top of a roof who just fell off dead, and it was that some dude had fired off a rifle into the air miles away, and the bullet had come back down and hit this guy. But it's like that happened once in the history of humanity.
What happened in that
right.
situation? Is that
I mean,
manslaughter?
I think it's involuntary manslaughter.
How would you? What's the like?
I mean, you can still prove it by with ballistics.
Yeah.
That's scary.
But of course, it's like, how did they track where that shot came from? Unless this could have been an October Sky type thing.
What's that?
Remember in October Sky where he uses trigonometry to go find where the rocket landed?
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's a great movie. I haven't watched October Sky in 10 years.
Say,
I don't know if anybody has.
Jake Gyllenhaal's finest work.
I forgot Jake Gyllenhaal's in that. Wow.
Baby Jake
So
Gyllenhaal.
you would say you would prefer? I mean, obviously it's apples and oranges, but like in terms of like iconic Jake Gyllenhaal roles, you'd pick that over Donnie Darko.
Oh no.
Yeah.
He loves Donnie.
Those are
I
two.
fucking love
Those are
Donnie
two
Darko.
such different roles.
That's what I'm saying, though. It's
Yeah.
apples and oranges, so it's hard to
Exactly.
say.
I
I think they can both, like, parallel be great.
I think that they're both too good
They're so
scope that they'd be
great.
like this shows the range of what this artist can do
Oh,
at the time.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
he can. Yeah, I like how you say at the time because now he's just kind of like he's just
Jake.
like evened.
Yeah.
Jake's
Even
kind of
and
gone
just, like,
down.
Yeah,
He's kind of
I
on his
still
way
love
down.
everything Jake Gyllenhaal's in. I like Jake.
I mean,
Gyllenhaal.
he managed to catch the tail of that Disney dragon and is riding it into the next Marvel movie.
What was the?
That's true.
What did he
Well,
do before?
What was he before Mysterio? Well, because
No, I'm saying Mysterio. I'm referring to Mysterio.
Oh, yeah, 'cause he's
and
gonna be
upcoming.
Mysterio
Yeah, I
in
said
Far From
upcoming. I
Home.
said upcoming.
Yeah.
We used to catch the tail of the dragon.
Meaning that there's the giant Disney dragon that's just continuing to fly by, and he's flying by him, and he's just like, "Well, I'm gonna get on this train."
There
Oh,
you go.
smart.
He did it.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Yeah,
it's good.
dude, getting into Marvel
I don't
world.
know. I'm seeing some photos of him in the Mysterio outfit. It kind of looks weird.
I've seen him too, and like I'm on the fence about it as well. But I don't dislike it. Like I think it could be.
I think it could be great.
I trust Marvel at this point. Like
What have you done for me lately? You killed Iron Man. Fuck you.
yeah, but in the context of like arguably the best Marvel movie that's ever been released.
Why didn't Captain Marvel just fly into space with the gauntlet?
There's a few plot holes like that in Endgame.
Could have flown straight up in the air.
Why didn't they get a different Tony back? Why didn't they take the gauntlet to go with?
Well, because that Tony would never have wanted to leave. Because that Tony would have known that they were of a different timeline and that it wasn't truly where they belonged.
Yeah, as many plot holes as there are, I feel like you could also easily explain away all of them too by the nature of the
Exactly.
character.
Yeah.
What about getting a different Black Widow?
I mean, I'm not going to even go down how bitter I am that like that was the character they killed.
You know what? I read something that someone wrote that was like really sad, and they were like, Marvel, like whenever you go into the Soul Stone, it's a soul for a soul, and they took a widow away and then gave us another widow in Pepper, and I was like, just like laid down, tried not to cry, cried really hard when I read that.
Damn.
Like, yeah, I was like, oh no. This makes me sadder than most things in my real life. Like, I don't want to think about this.
It's like the Red Wedding and when Oberyn died.
Yeah, it's just like, I got like real sad, and I was just like, I need to go outside or see if my son wants
need
to
a
play with
moment.
trucks or something. Like, yeah, it was super, super sad. Like,
Do you
I read
have a son?
Yeah,
Ellis. He's amazing.
How old is he?
he's a little over 2,
Nice.
so he's awesome.
You kept him alive.
Okay, we did it. Like we did so far. We did it.
But you got through the threshold.
Yeah, we got through the like
Exactly.
hyper focused need to keep him alive part, and now we're in the like, well, you now are you're too alive, and we have to parent you. It's like that's where we are now. Not that he needs to be less alive, but like he's figuring it out.
Important to make that distinction.
No, he's really dope. I love him.
And he's awesome. He's super fun.
Except on Thursdays.
Why? Oh, I was trying to think of like just like shit that happens in like Burbank on Thursdays. I'm like, I don't know, like what happens because
Traffic real bad.
Fridays are trash days, and he loves garbage trucks and like he loves big trucks, but mainly garbage trucks.
He loves watching the garbage
He
truck.
loves garbage trucks. We took him to like an LA sanitation
Probably
day
straight.
No,
thing
you didn't.
in downtown where he got to play on like all the garbage trucks and go on a garbage truck ride.
You
Like a
freaked
couple
out?
times a year, the city does that, and like the first time Amanda and I, my wife's name is Amanda. John, all of you listening should probably already know, and if you don't, then
Fuck you.
lose the link to our show. But no, like we went there. This is the first time we'd ever seen him get this excited about something. We got in a garbage truck and he went on like a little ride around the like their work or
Have
whatever.
you tried putting him in a monster truck?
And no, not yet. But so Amanda's dad has like is like semi-retired and just like sold a utility and construction company, and he still has like a backhoe and like stuff. Like when we
So you're
visit,
gonna
like
do
he gets
that.
to see him. Yeah, but like we got in the garbage truck and we'd never seen him this excited before. We were like, we don't know how he was gonna react because we know what it's like when he gets excited. He just gets pumped. He just like yells and he's like a little kid. Like he just
Yeah.
loves stuff. But this is a whole new level. He got in and he didn't say anything. His eyes got really wide and he just started breathing really heavily. Like I thought he was gonna hyperventilate. Like we got in the car and we were like, Ellis, like we're in the truck. We were like, Ellis, we're in a garbage truck, buddy. Like, are you super excited? And we look over at him and his eyes are just wide and he goes, yeah. And it was just like that for the first like 3 minutes of the ride. He's just breathing super heavily. And it was just really funny.
And then what did he say?
And then afterwards, we started talking, and he was just like, and then he got really, because we drive by like a bunch of the other types of garbage trucks, and so they had some construction equipment in this industrial part of LA that we went to do this thing, and it was just really funny. And so he was just like, he like loves pointing stuff out, and so we were like, what color is that truck, buddy? And he's like, it's blue, and he just freaks because he loves it. And so he got a little trash can, like a little garbage can toy that he puts stuff in, and he plays with.
I love
It's
it.
like he loves. We watch YouTube videos every day of garbage trucks, and so that's how much he loves it.
This is parenting.
Yeah, totally. You just like you find what your kids are into, and you just like try to like let them have as much of that as possible.
I think you should be a sanitation worker for Halloween this year.
Yeah, I know. We should like do something cool. I bought a garbage truck hat for him.
Did you?
Yeah, it's just a trucker. It's just a black mesh trucker hat with the white front on it, and
Nice.
it just has a cartoon garbage truck, like a waste management garbage truck on it. And it looks. I would wear the adult version of that hat. It looks awesome. So
We should make one and sell it as a merch item.
yeah, just garbage trucks.
That's a great
I'm sure
idea.
there's a fetish group for that too.
It's amazing. Dump trucks.
There's definitely like
Kyle
erotic
Fullwood.
fiction that's been written.
It's so great.
Did you delete the episode by accident?
Oh, I haven't even been recording this whole time.
We don't want this to be recorded.
Yeah, no, I'm
Well, that's
just watching.
good. I never got to finish my story. So,
Yeah, Doctor
Oh
Strange.
yeah.
I'm just watching Doctor Strange.
Where were you?
so I'd almost gotten there. So
Yeah, this is the show though. This is our show.
no,
Like,
I'm beginning to realize that.
Yeah.
But no, it's fine. I mean, if we want, we can kick it down. We can kick the can down the road a little bit further. I can say,
No.
come back to
You
it.
can get back to your story,
Yeah,
Mr.
let's go.
Smartass.
So, the day after Mike Pence announces that.
Oh,
we wanna
yeah.
go back
Oh,
to the
yeah,
moon
we were
I
talking
thought you were
five
saying
years.
about the day after the snap for a
No.
second.
yeah.
At that time, I was working on the Deep Space Gateway,
Bum bum bum.
which is NASA's future mission to have a space station that orbits the moon.
That's awesome.
I
So
was
the
really
next,
trying to do some like Darth Vader music, but I realized my humming was horrible.
I thought you were trying to do the theme from 2001.
No, I was trying to do.
Oh, that's what I thought.
I was
Yeah,
trying to do
that's-
the Imperial.
Also Zox-
But more like rough, like slightly reminiscent of Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Ooh,
Like,
boom, ba, dee.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
I can't.
so it's called. So what's this project called? The Deep Space
Gateway.
Gateway.
Yes,
That's
it's not a Stargate,
The
unfortunately.
coolest name for anything like that I've heard. You've probably heard way cooler names being on the team that probably makes them up, but like Deep Space
Well,
Gateway
one
sounds dope as fuck.
one of the our future space probes is called Lucy.
That's cool.
So yeah, some upcoming ones: Lucy, the Europa Clipper, Mars 2020,
I have a gambit of names there.
Artemis. I believe is the tentative name for the future, which brings to the lunar lander.
Oh, nice.
Is there any names that you know that if you said you'd have to kill Kyle?
No.
Damn it!
Well, there's Hacksaw.
Yeah. That's
That's a-
self-explanatory.
Yeah, but no, that's not a class. I can talk about that. That's a hypersonics weapon program.
Oh, wow.
No, that's.
Kyle's eyes lit up like Ellis's on a garbage
Yeah.
truck.
Yes, weapons.
I guess just brief. If we're gonna briefly talk about that, we've gone from nuking two cities in 1945 to almost nuking ourselves during the Cuban Missile Crisis to reaching maximum stockpiling of nuclear weapons around 1985, which is around the premise of Watchmen.
yes,
and we're
which
now-
I love, by the way.
In a
Great,
place
great
where we have
graphic novel.
we have tons and we still have lots of nukes, but we've been developing for a very long time. One of the things that Lockheed works on is anti-nuclear missile systems. So the idea is that someday if someone got crazy and lobbed a nuke into the sky, we could probably put up 100 missiles to knock it out of the sky. That is our hope and our intention.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And by someone crazy, you mean like just like our president accidentally doing it because he's fucking stupid? Like,
Possibly.
yeah.
The problem is that probably most of the other people that nuke would be lobbed at don't have as much anti-nuclear missile systems as we do.
That's true. Yeah.
So, of course, though, as Commissioner Gordon states at the end of Batman Begins, escalation is the issue. So, we've now reached a point if our nukes can get if a nuke tossed into space on a ballistic orbit, or not ballistic orbit, on a ballistic trajectory, can get knocked out of the sky and thus rendered useless, then you need to find another way to deliver a nuke. Hence, hypersonic weapons employ hypersonic transportation, meaning scramjets or ramjets. So to explain what that is, conventional jet engines use a turbine to compress the air into the engine and then mix it with fuel to ignite and generate thrust.
What happens if a nuke goes off in space?
Depends where.
Finish talking about engines first.
Yeah. So above traditional jet engines do not work above a certain speed. They're no longer able to compress the air effectively.
Those cookies.
So there are ramjets, which are a different type of modified jet engine that is designed to be able to work between higher speeds. I believe between about Mach 2 and 3, or about Mach 2 and 4.
Where does the SR-71 fall on this scale?
Oh, that's high. It's probably, I think that was at least Mach 6.
Oh, so the SR-71 is way higher than what you're talking about
the
right now.
SR-71 is probably
Like at this
the
point,
best thing that, or probably just the coolest piece of technology that humanity's ever built.
like
it's
still
so far ahead of its
unbeatable
time.
right now. Like still, like
Yeah, I mean, right now for things that we have that are available, it's stunning. I mean, the fact that it was made, and it was by Skunk Works, which is a division of Lockheed.
Okay.
No, it's still. I believe it still holds the record for highest altitude air-breathing vehicle, meaning a non-rocket one. Yeah, it just outstripped all the missiles. It just flew right over
just-
Russia and just smiled as they tried to fire missiles on it, but it was
That's
too
just
late. It
unbelievable
was just
to
going
me.
too fast and too high up.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, is it like an anomaly, like a mechanical or like an engineering anomaly that thing can even exist, based on what we have available to us technologically?
I don't think it's an anomaly.
Like-
It was just
There's nothing else like it.
no. Yeah, it's also so.
When
And there was
was it developed again?
1964.
Oh, I was gonna guess 70s, but it was
No,
earlier.
1964.
60s. Yeah.
So since then, we haven't been able to match it.
How to put it? It's not that we couldn't. It's that there was really no need to.
Okay, that's fair.
Because
There's
it was. I
also
think
no need to have like 20,000 nuclear weapons, and we do.
Also true.
So, but I think like the.
But we feel differently about that.
But yeah, I know. So I think, but it's also like I think the classification that it sits in is also why it probably, at least for the foreseeable future, will never be matched.
It's a slush hydrogen type fuel.
Well, but still, it's technically a jet.
Yeah, it is.
And so, like, you can, we have surpassed that technology, like, so much farther than
Yeah.
that with rocket technology and like, right, like.
yeah, but those are two different. I mean, you have to think
That's,
that
that's
two
what I'm
different
saying, though. And
things.
so,
Yeah.
like, in terms of, like, but talking about, like, the argument of, like, can we beat that technology? Well, yeah, we can with rockets, but, like, it's a different category.
Exactly.
So, like, in the realm of, like, talking about, like, what the SR-71 is functionally, it's a manned craft that
Yes.
does not leave our atmosphere.
Exactly.
So, we can't beat that
So yes,
with that level, like, with
yeah,
that. Like,
certainly for a manned craft.
yeah,
no,
yeah,
nothing.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
It's,
yeah,
it's
which
still,
was
Why do you think
mind-blowing.
that is? Why do you think we haven't tried to beat that?
because because the type of wars that we've been fighting don't need it. We also, too, you're thinking back at a time when we didn't have readily available satellite surveillance. And we
so
were
it
still-
was a necessity to have a manned jet that could take photos
It's a,
and
yeah,
get
it's
the
a,
fuck
it's
out
a
of
spy.
there. Like,
Exactly. You wanted
yeah.
a spy craft because it was faster
it
than
looks
the.
like a spy craft. Like
not
that thing
the
looks
U-
dope as fuck.
I
Like
remember with the U, not the U2 spy plane. It might have been the U2 spy plane. One of them did eventually get shot down over Russia, but it never had a failed mission. That the SR-71, and so it just, I guess to quickly
insane.
finish back, the SR-71 had a multi-engine types. I believe. What was it? Let me not contradict myself. I believe it had a multi-engine type system. So the thing is, jet engines can get you from not moving to up to a certain speed. Ramjets and scramjets operate. You have to be going at least a certain speed in order for them to work.
so, it's like a turbo. Like it's like a turbine.
Yeah, but it's one that's meant for much higher compression capability and being also much higher in the atmosphere because you have less oxygen available.
Gotcha.
And the problem there is you're going so fast that friction creates heat, and now running into the issue of material science, where you need to find materials, probably ceramics, that are able to withstand potentially thousands of degrees and not melt, which gets you all the way to a scramjet, which is a jet engine that has no moving parts.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, it relies solely on its shape to compress the air in front of it and then generate thrust in a reaction.
That sounds pretty
How is it
futuristic.
initially propelled, though? Is it launched?
No, that's what I'm saying. It has to be a multi-engine craft that
Gotcha.
initially has usually
A combustion.
a turbojet engine
Okay.
that can get it up to the speed to then convert over to the ramjet or scramjet.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So anyway,
Interesting.
a hypersonic weapon employs this propulsion system, and so instead of having a nuke that goes up into the atmosphere, out of the atmosphere, and comes back down, this nuke gets launched out of a submarine from the land, flies 10 feet above the sea, halfway across the planet, and then drops into your city.
That's
Below the radar level, with almost no ability to stop it.
terrifying. That is insane.
Yep.
So it doesn't even go into the sky.
No.
So what would that
But
look
even
like?
if it did, you probably couldn't hit it.
Sure. Well, yeah. Like, what would that look like in terms of like being like obviously like the situation that you described at this point is still hypothetical, but like you're saying that it would be relatively close to the surface of the water.
It could be.
Like it could be like would that affect its like flight pattern or its like ability to physically operate the way it was designed, being that close to water and like potentially having water come up and like blowing water all over the place, like just like
Well,
the
it's-
physical
it's
act
moving-
of being over water. Like what would
Moving
they
that
look like?
fast, it's now generating a shockwave behind it. Like the water below
Oh,
it isn't even reacting
so-
to it moving over
Okay,
it.
that makes sense. So this
Yeah.
is showing like how like my depth of like that I can go, my understanding of physics. Right now. It's just like, yeah, and so it's like,
Well, no, you raise a legitimate question because you cannot fly a hypersonic craft at sea level as fast because the air is so much thicker that you're probably going to melt it with the friction.
right. But you're saying that like it wouldn't matter because it's so like it's.
Well, also, it's radar defeating is probably the biggest thing. You're flying below radar level.
oh yeah.
But then also, yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to carry any fuel. That's the other big thing.
That's
or
fucking
it carries
crazy, man.
far. Or sorry, let me say not any. It does have to carry fuel, but unlike a rocket, it doesn't have to carry nearly
It
as
doesn't
much.
rely on fuel to sustain its flight pattern, is what you're saying?
Well, no, it does, but a rocket has to carry all of its fuel and then nothing. Using a jet engine is still a craft that is using fuel, but also using the oxygen in the air.
Gotcha. Well, because an engine at its core is just it's a lung. It's basically a mechanical lung. It's like it's efficient. It's only as efficient as it can move air through itself, right? Like
Yes, and that that dictates how powerful it can be. Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah.
Let's go back to the nukes.
Okay.
Tell me about what you meant by depends where in space.
Oh, okay. So, and this is interesting because I don't think people necessarily think about this. A nuclear weapon detonated on Earth will generate massive amount of gamma radiation, will also generate a massive shock wave. And it's a pressure shock wave that's created by now all of a sudden having millions of degrees potentially if it was a thermonuclear warhead. This expands, there's a heat that incinerates everything. There's this blast wave that can destroy buildings that will still send a shock wave potentially thousands of miles.
That's
or
how we get
around
like
the planet.
shadows like burned on the concrete. And
Yeah,
stuff
like
that.
that's if you're really close.
Yeah.
Radioactive fallout, EMPs, whole 9 yards. In space, there is no medium for which to not disperse. It's just vacuum. So there's nothing for a shockwave to move through. So there's no shockwave from a nuclear weapon being detonated in space, if it was truly in space. However, the radiation is not attenuated by passing through everything. So your radiation dosage is significantly higher than it would be on Earth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, and I understand why you brought this question up, a nuclear weapon detonated in the upper atmosphere can have potentially catastrophic events, even if it's not a particularly large nuke. This was accidentally explored in a program called Starfish Prime that was a high-altitude nuclear tests conducted by the United States, and where they discovered that
Like what? Like in the 50s or something? Or like,
yeah,
It's,
it might
okay,
be- it's
it's
either
like-
late 50s or early 60s. I think it was the late 50s. It generated an EMP over the Pacific Ocean, and so that was really where they first began to understand what EMPs are.
I didn't know a nuclear like explosion could trigger an EMP.
Oh yeah, that's where you get massive EMPs from. It's just in the case of Hiroshima, everything was destroyed, so no one noticed if the lights weren't working.
Yeah, it was just demolished. And
Yeah.
so it was just people were like, "Oh, the electricity went out because you dropped a bomb on our city."
Yeah,
like
exactly.
but that's insane.
But the
because
thing,
EMPs can also be like you can synthesize one with technology.
you
too.
can,
Like,
but
you
it
can
wouldn't
make
be
one happen.
But it's not going to be
not the
nearly as
same.
powerful. Well, no, it is the same thing happening. It's electrons being moved, but the EMP you can generate from a nuke is far more powerful than what we can just make just doing
insane.
an EMP by itself. So the thing is, though, an EMP in the hot upper atmosphere a nuclear detonation in the upper atmosphere will transfer an EMP over a much larger distance, potentially even across an entire continent, from a nuclear detonation that might even only be in the kiloton range and not even in a megaton. So the problem is, one, you can actually potentially knock out all the lights with only a handful of nukes, and you will irradiate this. And the more pressing issue is Starfish Prime created a radiation in the ionosphere, which destroyed the 6 existing satellites that were in space at the time. So either severely destroyed at least 2 of them, and
That's
severely disabled
insane.
the other 4. So if you destroyed a bunch of if you detonated a bunch of nukes in the upper atmosphere, you could irradiate or ionize, you could irradiate the ionosphere for decades potentially and destroy all low Earth satellites, and potentially the ability to communicate between the Earth and the ground. Between the Earth and space, effectively cutting off communication.
That's insane. Like
Meaning
indefinitely.
like not indefinitely, but it could, like Starfish Prime alone took months for the radiation to decay out. So if you did
months in space to decay out.
meaning that it was taking months for the radiation to go back down so that it stopped affecting the satellites.
That's insane.
Yeah. And so if you did that now with the thousands of satellites that are in low Earth orbit and other orbits, it would
Your
just
iPhone wouldn't work anymore.
probably not. Also it would I don't know if it would affect GPS, not directly because the GPS are in geosynchronous orbit, but I imagine that it would probably affect communications between the Earth.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't call you on my iPhone anymore.
Yeah, you couldn't call. Let's assume GPS wouldn't work. Satellite tracking is down. Weather is down. Spy sats are
Instagram's down.
That's insane.
Facebook is down.
Yeah.
The Earth is over.
The end. The
Well,
end
to be fair,
times
Facebook
are
would probably be the
upon
first
us.
thing to go down. Facebook's
Netflix the last thing to go
It's
down.
it's
Yeah.
not. To be told, it's not significantly different than what would happen if we had a particularly bad solar flare,
okay.
which is what I'm waiting for.
Do you think it's going to happen?
It's the sun. It's not going to behave all the time. And I'm not saying it's going to go all Nick Cage on me and knowing, but you could
Is
just
there any defense?
Like it's a solar flare?
no.
I have
What are we gonna do?
like
But like that, and there's no there would be no warning, right?
Oh no, there'd be warning. It would take several days for the charged particles that would be most damaging to reach us.
Oh, it would take days.
Yeah.
So we would know days.
Yes, but that's not going to help really at all. If it's, if it's
how
gonna,
far underground can you go? Like
I don't really worry about human biology at sea level isn't going to be harmed. Pretty much it would destroy all the satellites. I wouldn't want any humans to be up in space when that happened.
Would it create like a Fantastic Four moment?
Potentially, but that's after it would destroy the power grids. And then
Maybe that's how you get your powers. That's how you become Mr.
I think
Fantastic.
it would create a Victor Von Doom moment. More so.
More so. Or actually, I guess would it create a Dark Phoenix moment? I haven't seen the new
Yeah.
I haven't seen the new movie.
I haven't either, but I was assuming you're probably accurate.
got
God,
destroyed.
did it?
Yeah.
It got destroyed past getting destroyed.
No, and you just knew it was dead on arrival.
It got destroyed.
Is it actually bad, or is it just people
I don't
hate
know.
it?
I think
seen
it's
it.
pretty bad. It
Is
looks
it worse?
It looks
than-
pretty bad.
Is it worse than Apocalypse? It can't be.
Oh, I don't know. Who knows?
But all the X-Men are pretty bad.
Just hold your tongue, bite your tongue.
Ha!
They're not made by Marvel.
Well, yeah, but
Not in the
Days of
cinematic
Future
universe.
Past was.
It was okay.
I like Days of Future Past.
It was okay. I hated the
But-
Sentinel program. I just don't like the concept.
I think
You
they
don't
were.
like
I think
Sentinels?
they were menacing. I think there was truly.
I thought Sentinel program was dope.
Yeah, like that
I just
first.
didn't-
That cold open with the Sentinels dropping through and just
I
like
just didn't
slowly
think. I
killing
just
them
don't
all.
think it's
Yeah.
realistic. I don't
Like
think
That
what
was
way?
the unrealistic part of that tale.
Well, no.
No, but like
And not the
in
fact
the
that he could go
context
back
of
in
their
time?
world.
exactly.
Why?
Yeah.
I just think that for it to get to that point of the Sentinel being at that stage, there would have been so many iterations of it that would not have gotten it that.
Meaning it jumped to being the morphing. I can do anything.
It became like utilitarian but that would assume that if that was level 10, right, and the first one that they'd gone back in time to stop, which was like level 1,
The ones from the 70s.
yeah, that's saying that from level 1 to level 10, Magneto, Dr. X, Wolverine, etc.
All
didn't figure
died.
out a way to like just destroy them when they became like semi-powerful.
Yeah, I get that.
There was just like, to me, that was like a major plot issue. Is like, how as an X-Man did you let it get to that like ubiquitous?
Well, no, that's but okay. But then to expand on that, you have anti-mutant. It goes the other way in that moment.
the Sentinel program was also developing-
Mystique shoots the president. They call for more Sentinels. The X-Men at this point are probably, and the mutants are a disenfranchised group that'll probably have their rights stripped from them. The best that they can do is what? From a legal recourse, appeal not to do more. If the U.S. military decides that they want them, they just keep doing them. At some point, all they can do is then openly fight, which would only create a stronger response to build more Sentinels. I mean, if they decide to openly attack a military base or a facility that's building Sentinels and destroy them all, it's still going to just get an increasing response to build more. I think it was a permanently losing. It was a endless negative feedback loop.
I see that. I still don't like the program.
I mean, I think that they would have been crushed because Magneto, I think, could have just taken all those Sentinels and turned them into pulp in 3 seconds.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, it's the collective power of what a Sentinel is capable of, still technically as a machine, is like does not match even one X-Men, or Magneto.
Back before they were ubiquitous in power, yes.
Yeah, totally.
Wait a second. By your use of ubiquitous, meaning that they were all the same in power. Is that the word you wanted to use?
Yeah, like all the Sentinels were so strong linearly that it didn't matter at that point. That's like where you start in Days of Future Past.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Where all the
They're all now the most up to grade modern
which
version.
is just like there's no way that like from 0 to hero on that.
Yeah,
like,
you want to
by,
see how they got from A to B.
right, but like because like they wouldn't have.
They wouldn't have let them make the journey, and
That's what I'm saying.
I do agree with you. It's at some point Professor X has been like, "Okay, I'm done with this."
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
before.
Bring Cerebro on, and
Right.
turn you all off.
Exactly. That's
Do
what
you
I'm
think
saying.
he's too ethical of
I
a
think he
character
is.
though to stand out of the way though, and like just let him be like, well, I could, but then it would open this can of
wouldn't
have- he
moral
would-
can of worms.
He
like-
wouldn't have stood by when they
Eh.
got that powerful.
I think it would have been. I think by the time that he would have allowed himself to overcome his
Moral.
ethics, it would have been too. Or I guess it would be his morals, ethics, his ideals. It would have been too late. That would have been like when there were too many Sentinels to be able to go back. When he
Maybe.
because he was always someone to give humanity a second chance.
Yeah. I just think Magneto would have wrecked it all.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
he's far too powerful and emotional to have allowed anything to continue to grow outside of the realm of what he was capable of controlling.
Mm-hmm.
Like straight up wouldn't have done it because he's like, egotistical enough to like want to control it, but he's also smart enough to know where it's going and to stop it.
Yeah.
So like Magneto alone to me is the plot hole killer. Even though I liked Days of Future Past, I thought it was great. But
Well, he's not a plot hole killer only because of how Mystique's decision played out.
oh, that's true because of his emotional like.
Well, because she chose that route, and
Yeah.
then he gave it a shot because she did.
Yeah,
So
I think,
true.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's That's how I would interpret that.
Yeah. Again, even with with Marvel, even with plot holes, like you can reasonably talk your way out of them because of like the nature of the characters that they created.
I can't talk my way out of that. How you sent Captain America back instead of Doctor Strange, and with the 6 stones that weren't turned back into the Tesseract and the staff,
Right. Yeah.
and the ether and everything else. But I guess don't mind me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so like, what would be the argument? I guess
They
since-
should.
They should have tried to just go put those things fucking back together. Like, you didn't have to be lazy about that.
But
you
I
didn't
guess
have to explain it.
would the worry then be that a Thanos from another timeline would have been like
Well, no,
found them
he
and been
went
made
to
that's
into
put
not
it
that's
back.
not their battle. Thanos could win in every other
universe
iteration.
Yeah,
They
so
don't
they have
care.
to let it go. Whatever.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they have to just let it but that's the one that
But
they were just like.
then
"This
that
is fine."
also raised the other question of, aren't they fucked anyway? Because the Sorcerer Supreme explained very clearly that even the loss of one stone from a timeline would eventually cause its collapse. Their main timeline has no stones.
Yeah, they
They're
destroyed all of them.
gone. So doesn't that mean that they're just fucked like instantly?
I
As
think
well?
that before that they're fucked because Galactus is like
No,
out
because
there.
the deal with Fox came through.
Yeah.
and Galactus is on his
I think-
way.
well, Galactus is definitely on its way, right? That because there is no more time stone.
There's no and so I mean
What
and-
does the time stone have to do with Galactus?
Any one stone leaving a universe allows her greater threats. That was the
Yeah, and so
that was what
Sorcerer Supreme was talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what the ancient one was.
Oh, not
for-
Sorcerer. Well, she is the Sorcerer.
Yeah,
but yes,
she was, but the ancient one was foreshadowing Galactus by the fact saying that if any one stone
Oh,
disappeared,
you think that was a Galactus?
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, well,
I did
especially
not
when you
pick
read
up
the
on
graphic
that.
novel. Too.
Yeah.
I mean, Galactus is like part of like ethereals that basically control all existence in the universe.
Right, and they're doing an
Like,
Ethereals movie
and he's-
because to
yeah.
set it up. Yeah, yeah.
Eternal?
And Galactus.
Yeah, Eternals.
Or
Okay.
Eternals. Yeah. And so, sorry, Eternals. Ethereals are like Star Lord's dad and all of, like, no, Ethereals are like Ex Nihilo and like the creators.
Yes.
And like, that's right. I'm just,
And the
it's been a while.
Beyonder.
It's been a while since I've read through
Beyonder
all
is
of
also
those.
an ethereal, right?
Yeah. I
Isn't
think,
that Stanley?
because that's.
No, that's the one above all else.
But one above all else is
Yeah.
Stan Lee.
You ever look up the list of the most powerful characters in the Marvel universe?
The one
Yeah.
above all else is Stan Lee.
There's
That's
or
amazing.
debatably, like
Yeah.
it's one of those things. It's not explicitly stated.
Yeah, but it's like, it is, but it isn't.
Heavily implied.
It's- yeah.
Well, I think this is a good place to end it.
All right.
Yeah, before Galactus does.
Yeah.
Which we'll just like right out. I will say Galactus is dope in Infinity Gauntlet.
I'm really excited for that.
No, I'm in the graphic novel, but like
No,
in
I
the-
know, but I'm
yeah.
saying that's the same Galactus. I hope they.
Yeah, I know. I'm just ready to see him create
How
it,
they
see
make him,
how they
yeah,
make him,
yeah, it's
because
gonna
I
be
feel
dope.
they did a good job with Thanos. He was
Yeah.
not quite as ominous as he is in the graphic novel, but I think they did it justice and it
Yeah,
worked.
he's way
Quick
darker in the graphic
question.
novel.
Do
Yeah,
you like Infinity War Thanos or Endgame Thanos better?
I like Infinity War Thanos better.
Yes.
Definitely Infinity War
Yes.
Thanos. Because you could also argue the in-game Thanos is
Didn't earn it.
like years sooner
Didn't earn
Thanos.
it.
Also, yeah, he didn't. Well, it's still an underdeveloped Thanos because because in Infinity War you saw him near the end of that journey that he was making through acquiring
Sacrificing
stones.
Gamora, yeah.
Like he had become far more experienced on his path of what he was trying to accomplish. And in Endgame, like he got there and then
It's a
he
blood-hungry
died
Thanos.
instantly. But then you go back in
Yeah.
time, you see the earlier version of Thanos, and you're like, we hasn't gotten there yet. Thanos also got to a point of being much more reverent towards what he was doing too. But also,
Very true.
like in Infinity War, like like in the MCU, the Thanos that is going after. It's just different because like they took one side of the arc of who Thanos is through the entire like graphic novel series of Infinity,
Yeah.
which again is hundreds of issues of comics. Like they took one side of it, which was him wanting to restore balance to the universe,
Yeah.
that's very, very, very like that's so singular
versus all the
versus
reasons.
all the
had.
other
I mean,
reasons
the
why
main-
because like in Infinity Gauntlet, he's trying to woo death.
Yeah.
He's trying to show her what he's capable of in his omnipotence whenever she brings him back to life.
And we wanted Hela.
A wild Alexis is
But
about
in
to come in. I can
Infinity,
hear the key.
yeah. But in Infinity, just Infinity, he's on a path to kill all of his illegitimate children throughout the galaxy because he does not want his throne to be usurped by them. And so it's like each one goes through different reasons why Thanos wants to destroy everything. And so it's like, but a lot of it roots back to his relationship with death. So anyway.
I was hoping so hard because I didn't see Hela get killed. I was hoping so hard that she was going to come.
I was hoping Hela was going to come back too because you'll see her die. Hela is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
And Alexis is here. We were about to end anyway, so this is a great time to just like
Excellent.
wrap off. Be like, we don't want Galactus to come down on us. We are sad that Hela didn't make a reappearance because you don't technically see her die.
Maybe she comes back.
I want her to.
I
That
hope
was
so.
way too significant of a character to
Yeah, to
be
be
done
one-off.
to one
I heard-
off in 3/4 of a
I
movie
heard
and
that
be like, you're out.
Killmonger's not really dead.
No, that's just you just hope that he's.
No, that's what I heard. That he's not actually dead. That's a rumor.
So it's a
for Black
Phil. So
Panther
it's a
2.
Phil Coulson.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool
Agent
guys.
Phil.
Well,
Thanks, guys. You stuck
Thank
it out
you.
through a lot of intellectual conversation.
we hope you learned something about rocketry.
Yeah.
Some stuff about space.
Thanks for coming on the show and
Thank
talking
you.
through all of our rabbit holes and
I enjoy it.
tangents. But I feel like we actually did a pretty good job of coming back on this episode to like
To
a lot of
shit.
the points. It's just a utter nonsense and complete tomfoolery and dumb fuckery. We don't promise anything less. We also absolutely cannot deliver anything more. So on that note, thanks
Thank you.
everyone for being here.
Thank you very much.
I just have one more thing.
Yeah.
Vaccinate your kids.
Vaccinate your kids. Vaccinate your kids. Vaccinate your kids.
Vaccinate your kids, 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 vaccinate your kids,
Vaccinate your kids.